Hello ladies and gentlemen, I have a great game to show you today. This I think is the best way to defend against a dreaded Baneling Bust, and I've been waiting for one of these to happen just the way I've wanted it to. Oftentimes there will be a Baneling Bust, but I don't have it, it just doesn't go quite as ideally as I would like it to go. But this is the best build for it that I think exists, and I wanted to share it with you, Terran players, so you can defend against this really annoying attack by Zerg. And what you do is, first you build your typical block-in with 2 supply depots and a barracks. What I like to do is I hotkey 2 SCVs so that when the scout comes in here, I'll attack him with 2 SCVs in case he tries to attack worker. And then with the other one, I will build a supply depot. And the reason why I do 2 is because if you just do 1, he might be able to kill your worker. If you do 2, he'll probably run away. But if he runs, and even if he doesn't run away, he'll still get killed by the 2 SCVs before he kills the worker building your barracks. So I go ahead and build a gas. If I see someone scouting, I try to throw them off a little bit. I won't be using a lot of this gas in this game, but basically I'm just going to be building Marines and Marauders, and that's what I do against Zerg, no matter what he's doing anyway. But this is the key. Build 2 barracks down here, and you might say, oh, that's pretty obvious, right? Well, it's taken me a while to figure out where to position these, and I always have to try to run a Marine through it just to test it to make sure it's blocked in fully, because it is hard to block this in. It's not that easy to do. It's easy to put a gap in there, and you could also build them up here and fly them down here, but it saves you some time if you can do 2 at once. I would not do 1 at a time. I would do 2 at once, because if you do 1 at a time, it's possible a 6-pooler could come and attack while you're just doing 1 and kind of defenseless down here. So also make sure to raise these supply depots when you lift up to bring your SCVs inside, because one time the timing was such that a bunch of Zerglings came along as soon as I lifted this up. So you've got a secondary door here, and this is very valuable because, as you will see in this game, sometimes Zerg players, are like, well, I'm going to overdo it and build a couple extra Banelings to take out whatever's right behind the supply depot. Maybe they think that they will need extra Banelings. Maybe they think some of them will get killed. I don't know, but for whatever reason, sometimes, and this Marine was not queued to pop out on the right side, so I have to run him over here. But I'll just fast forward a little bit. Basically, I'm going to build a bunch of barracks. I think I end up building 6 or 7 total. But this is a perfect example of what happens when the Zerg player does this. And I'd love to watch this from his perspective. I'll have to rewind it just to see what happens. So he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go for it anyway, because surely I can take them out, but I put most of my forces in here. So I'm just getting free shots at these Zerglings, and they can't get us around on any of my troops, so it's, 1 Zergling against 1 Marauder, basically, and they're just not going to be able to get through. And you can always pull your SCVs if you have to, or a couple of SCVs. So I was only down to yay many troops, but of course, you're a Zerg player. The problem with doing this, if you're Zerg, is that you're stuck on 1 base. You've kind of done an all-in, and you're kind of stuck in this all-in mentality. It's not quite an all-in, it's mostly in, though. Zerg can have a whole bunch of resources at 8 minutes into the game if they do a quick expand. So anyway, I drop down, look at all those Zerglings. So he probably thinks he can run in here and finish it off. But again, I've got 2 tiers of gates that the Zerg player will have to get through. And this is a great example, because I fly over another barracks to take the place of the one that the Zerglings and Banelings blew up, and it's only 150 minerals. Think about that, 150 minerals, and let's look at units lost. Yeah, the Zerg player has lost quite a few more resources and units. I only lost 5 units. One of them was a barracks, so 4 troops is all I lost. And now I've got the production facilities to create a lot more. And he's still stuck on Zerglings, and look at that, making more Banelings. So this is why you do want to fly the barracks over again. I think one time I did this, and I was still experimenting with it, and the second wave of Banelings got through. And so frustrating, because I defended well against the first wave of Banelings, and had I countered right after that first Baneling attack, I knew it would have failed. So anyway, here comes wave number 2. I'm sure he's disappointed to find the barracks rebuilt, apparently, and he only sees one Marauder. So he's like, oh yeah, I can take that. So he tries, but at this moment I am moving out for an all-in of my own. The SCVs are so helpful because they provide a melee barrier. The Zerglings actually do not do that well fighting against the SCVs anyway. So they do okay, but not when they're outnumbered like this. And he's probably wondering, what in the heck am I doing? But this is the best way to get a guaranteed win. They're not going to be able to handle this. It's kind of a engagement at all. He should have just run back and made Banelings, but even then, there's no guarantee. And look at his resources are doing okay, so he could have made Banelings with those. Well, I'm setting my rally point right now, and I'm setting it right at the Zerg front door, because I know that that's where I am going to be in a few seconds ahead of any of those troops. And if we look at the production tab, 14 more Zerglings. Man, I think Zerg is so overpowered. This is ridiculous. Just can pop up 14 units like that. If you don't do it like this, what usually happens is you go into the Zerg base, and with an army just like this, and then when it's all over, the Zerg player has the size of the army that you had when you attacked. So it's really frustrating. But if you bring these SCVs with you, it's not really an all-in either. Look at the income tab. We've got twice as many harvesters as him. We can call down mules. So I've made all these harvesters, and I just need a bigger army is the only problem to finish the job. So look at that. It's not really an all-in when you are left with 6 harvesters and they're left with 1. And I did build a few more too. Sometimes I'm better at that than other times. In this case, I feel like if I destroyed this Baneling nest, then the game would be over. But first I had to kill off some of these. And one reason why you want to kill off maybe the Baneling nest first is because the Zerglings are so fast they can just run away and turn into Banelings. Very vulnerable to Banelings with a force like this. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.